Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Perlmutter from Quantum Listing, and I am so happy to have Rebekah Carlson with us today. Rebekah is the commercial real estate broker, like me and probably most of you, at Carlson Brokerage, and she's also the founder of Carlson Integrated, a marketing firm that specializes in real estate and I believe has a few other strengths, other industries. They're based in Mondaline, Illinois. And Rebekah, I got to know through Andreas Senni, who is the CEO and founder of commercial of CRE Collaborative, and which is another commercial real estate tech company that Quantum Listing partners with. And I know that they work together on the Freed on Business tech segment, in which they've been kind enough to include me in once. And Rebekah has an incredible presentation for us today on the whys of marketing. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm just going to turn it right over to you, Rebekah. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. You and Julia have been absolutely lovely in guiding me through this process, and I hope that all of our listeners are able to glean some insight from our presentation today, and I also hope that they continue to understand and recognize why quantum listing is becoming such a great industry leader. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So as David mentioned, I'm the founder of Carlson Integrated. I formed the company in 2017 in June, so we're just a little over 2 years old. I spent 14 years before that in-house at an investment firm specializing in retail and parking acquisitions. I absolutely loved it and loved the people I worked with, but I did see an opportunity in the marketplace to do more, and so I branched out with their blessing. I still get to work with my old team on a few things, by the way, including their annual events at ICSC Recon in Las Vegas and ICSC Chicago Dealmaking coming up in October. Carlson Integrated's team currently consists of 5 moms, each with a diverse set of skills. We also have 5 collaborative partners. So these are companies who specialize in areas where we don't want to have our primary focus. And those are web development, public relations, giveaways, drone and property video, SEO, which is search engine optimization. That's basically showing up on Google searches. Our client portfolio contains firms who have completed literally billions of dollars of commercial real estate transactions. Everything from owners, investors, developers, asset managers, property managers, mortgage brokers, and real estate brokers. I am also the current president of NYCAR, the Northern Illinois Commercial Association of Realtors. We are a commercial overlay board governed under NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and have approximately 700 commercial real estate practitioner members located in 13 counties in Northern Illinois, including all of Chicagoland. So generally, the Carlson Integrated MO is this. We work with integrity. The finished product we provide our clients is excellent, creative, accurate, and targeted. Our offerings are diverse, completely tailored to our clients' needs. We believe the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Therefore, we collaborate with our clients and strategic partners. We add value through a thoughtful, strategic approach, and we provide recommendations and insight in addition to seamless execution. Most importantly, we prioritize relationships and service. So when do clients call us? Well, I wanted to provide a couple of anecdotes that give you some context for our services and experience. The first one is this: I wish I'd known about you. Just last week, I met with a client who had been speaking to a broker in New York about their unique investment structure, and the broker told them exactly this: I wish I'd known about you. The light bulb went off, and they called me right away to schedule a meeting. The focus of the meeting was very intentional. We have to get the word out about them. Here's the second one. I don't usually take listings. So I got this one from a broker colleague who typically represents investors in acquiring properties throughout our market. He and his team are hunters, chasing deals, and typically have no need for marketing materials and things like that. But since he had taken on a listing, he called me for an emergency favor to put something together, which of course we were happy to do, creating a flyer overnight, and he was thrilled. He just didn't have the in-house capacity to do something like that. And then here's my third little example. Our partners on deals keep giving us shout outs, and we want to do that too. So this happened at another meeting last week with one of the busiest developers in my market. They do ground up development and use outside brokers to market their properties, so they don't have marketing in-house. But they recognize that other companies are doing something cool and giving them props through public relations or on LinkedIn. They felt very strongly that adding that capability will enhance their relationships and announce their transactions appropriately. So we touch multiple segments with multiple motivations with our clients. And as I was formulating this webinar, it inspired me to develop kind of a topic that would benefit, I think, our listeners, and hopefully explain a little bit more of what we do as a marketing company and how it can impact commercial real estate. We have learned how to do a lot of things. We must try to relearn why.
Very true.
I think sometimes there's so much conversation about the tactical methods of marketing that the overarching purpose gets a little obscured. In my research and even in my interactions with clients, there is a focus on doing, but not a lot about the mentality behind it. When Quantum Listing invited me to come to the show, it was the perfect opportunity to showcase what I believe are some of the motivating factors. Nothing here is shocking or earth-shattering, but it comes back to the fundamentals, which I believe are exactly where any successful marketing program gets its genesis. Also, these fundamentals are not comprehensive, just some of my favorites. And if you have other motivating factors you'd like to share at the end, I'm sure we all will really appreciate it. So take a second and jot those down as we go through this if you are thinking of things that we have missed. So WHYS is an acronym, and the W stands for what you don't use, you tend to lose. I was an avid band member in high school. I played the clarinet, the tenor saxophone, and the bari saxophone. I was in regular band and jazz band. Additionally, I sang regularly with choirs throughout my youth and even throughout college. I easily performed. My musical career today consists of helping my kids with their sight reading when they practice their instruments, and occasionally performing a duet with my sister at family funerals. She's a thespian, performing in local theater groups on an ongoing basis. I think she's done over 25 shows in the past 10 years. She's incredibly talented and has cultivated that talent over the years. So why am I telling you this? It's that the difference between our voices when we perform is noticeable. I am uncertain of the notes. She is confident. My voice shakes. Hers encompasses the room. In fact, her daughter now plays my old clarinet, which I hadn't picked up for nearly 20 years. This is a perfect example of what you don't use, you tend to lose in life. I can find some correlations within my business skills as well, and I imagine you can too. So here's what we do first. Take a quick poll of your team and some people outside the firm. Past clients, current clients, business relationships. What do they think you do or your business does in very general terms? Do they know more than the name of your company? Do they consider you a respected industry professional? If what they respond with doesn't exactly mesh with your own business reality, you probably have a perception problem. By talking to people outside of your own organization who know you, you should get some honest feedback about how your work is perceived by the market. You may not be able to track actual market share with statistics, but this doesn't need to be an intense analysis or a formal process. You are just identifying where some of the disconnect may be. Does their perception mirror your reality? Ask them further when the last time was that they heard about you or from you. If they aren't hearing about you or from you or seeing you on a regular basis, you will probably not be the first to come to mind when a need arises. Every good deal and good business person gets recognition sometimes. When we talk about what you don't use, you will lose, it's having the mindset that any goodwill generated by your community work, your recent closing, your industry expertise that is not done intentionally and with a plan may give you a boost in your online or market presence for a short period of time, but it will fade away. Also, any temporary interest in building a presence through networking or several-month attempt at social media will only provide mixed results as your attention is taken elsewhere. You won't get the bang for the buck. Like any other aspect of business, marketing takes intentionality and organization, and most importantly, consistency. In education, there's something known as the summer slip. I don't know about your kids, but mine love having the break of the summer. However, statistics show this actually impairs their education and forces teachers to start the school year off with a heavy focus on reviewing the prior year's material. I'm sure there are other parents like me who buy workbooks and force their kids to do them over the summer, or plan educational excursions while they're out of school to help mitigate the summer slip. The broader real estate market has the same issue. We forget. We forget people, we forget deals, we forget who to call when we have a hot listing. If you don't make it on someone's marketing list or their follow-up list in their CRM, they very well may not call you if you are off their radar for a period of months or if your presence is inconsistent. The first year we were in business, we worked with a number of established smart brokers who sheepishly admitted to having golf ball boxes or shoe boxes full of business cards from their networking over the years that had never made it into a digital format. We were able to aggregate contacts and create e-blast programs for them to support their relationship development when they weren't on the networking circuit. They rightfully wanted a holistic approach. So as we close out this concept that what you don't use, you tend to lose, do you have any questions? We could also save them for the end, David. I'm not sure what you prefer.
Yeah, people are very shy about and you can, and if you don't want to unmute yourself to ask a question, you can also ask it in the chat box at the bottom right of the control panel. But I think there may be no questions because you've been very clear, and let's keep going.
Okay. Now we're on to the H in WHYS, which for me is an honest assessment of your business model. So we've taken an assessment from our colleagues and friends, and now it's time to do some of our own assessments. How have you structured your business to engage in ongoing, consistent marketing and business development? Are you developing processes and goals to ensure you are staying on track? Sometimes we all get sidelined by our actions in our businesses, doing deals, focusing on super encompassing projects or clients, or even get a little lazy, just punching a clock or taking summers off. Do you remember Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. The theory worked in the movie, but in reality, the ball field fell into obsolescence. Just yesterday, it was announced that ground has broken on a new baseball field being constructed there in Dyersville, Iowa, for an August 2020 baseball game between the White Sox and the Yankees. David actually passed the article along to me this morning. They're reimagining the property for a new generation. All right, imagine this scenario. You have the most amazing listing in the world. Best location, best price, best seller. You've got a good one. How about this scenario? You have the most amazing buyer in the world. They are rolling in cash and ready to buy anything you can drum up. This is all well and good, but we know there are two sides to every transaction, and you still need the other side. This is why you need to take a look at your business model. And if you are just expecting people to know that you are out there with great opportunities, you are limiting your chances of broader success. Unfortunately, people cannot give you business if they don't know about you or remember you. Out of sight equals out of mind. The opposite is true as well. People are more apt to engage with you if they do remember you. Your company's online presence may well be the most important asset your business has. I'm going to say that again. I think that's maybe the most important sentence in this entire presentation. Your company's online presence may well be the most important asset your business has. And this takes us into how we look at marketing. How do you look at marketing? A lot of businesses lump it all together as a necessary but unwelcome expense, more an aggravation than an opportunity. I'd encourage you to view your marketing activity, when done well, as an investment in your future deal flow and future business. If that's a stretch for you, you can settle for it being a greens fee to be in the business in the first place. I spent most of my career as a marketing director at a firm where the COO discouraged the marketing spend, but the CEO regarded it as a greens fee. There's no way we could have built credibility and industry presence without the vision and advocacy of the CEO. The most accurate approach I found I'd like to share with you. This approach is to segment your marketing into two specific categories, investment and expense. I took this delineation from an Inc. magazine article by Samuel Edwards, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Here's what I mean. Some marketing is comprised of permanent or semi-permanent assets for you or the organization, and these have compounding returns, meaning they may be one-time spends, but they have long-term benefits. We put branding, website and SEO, search engine optimization, and PR, articles, and content marketing in this category, as well as social media. These all stick around and continue to drive identity, marketplace recognition and credibility, sometimes for years and years. Who doesn't recognize the McDonald's logo? Or here in the Chicago area, we had the Empire Carpet jingle that I can still sing from my childhood, which means I still know the number to their business. I've worked on the same luncheon in Las Vegas during ICSC Recon for the past 15 years. Every Chicago attendee knows when and where it is and who sponsors it. I get emails every year from people who apologize that they can't make it, but beg to stay on the list. The event is associated with the brand, and even during the recession, we kept it going because we never wanted the industry to think that we had closed up shop when so many others were doing so. It communicated strength and longevity, even in dark days. Building an Instagram or Facebook feed over time provides credibility and legitimacy to people who are just learning about you. And having a presence on more platforms enables you to have additional rankings on that first page of Google. These are some great examples of investment. There are other marketing items, however, that can be viewed as temporary expenses. Paid advertising and e-blasts are good examples of this. While these hopefully bolster the ongoing brand, they are easier to correlate with a specific project or property, and you track your ROI, your return on investment, in these cases. You use the data you receive from these sources to drive your decisions. I want to share with you and explain really quickly the marketing rule of 7. The marketing rule of 7 is not 7 rules. It's the concept that your prospective buyer needs to hear or see your marketing message at least 7 times before they buy from you. It was coined, near as I can tell, in the early 1930s, and over time has become a marketing standard. Modern supporters suggest it's actually up to 77 times in our digital world. Protagonists say it's a bunch of baloney because marketers sometimes use it as an excuse to spam people. For me, it's not a rule, but the broader concept carries. When not taken to the extreme and causing crazy inundation with irrelevant content, creepy retargeting ads, or just plain old spam, the concept is really just to stay in front of your network with relevant, useful content, which can be delivered in a variety of ways. After all, as consumers, isn't that how we want to be pursued? I want to circle back on my first questions from this section. How have you structured your business to engage in ongoing, consistent marketing and business development? And are you developing processes and goals to ensure you are staying on track? If anyone has any questions about the concept of taking an honest assessment, feel free to post them in the box or save them for the end.
We have a question from another David on our webinar today, and he wants to know, do you use research in your process? Please speak to the type and how it's used, and is it in the messaging? So, yeah. And on okay.
So I need a little more context in the question on research. First and foremost, absolutely, we use research.
So I guess hypothetical. You've got a customer who's building a new multifamily tower in Chicago, in an up-and-coming neighborhood. What type of research do you think you would do in that context?
To help them position that building?
Yeah.
Okay. So to help them position that building, and you're speaking multifamily, of course, you're going to use typical demographic data. I like to use RPR, quite frankly. I think that they provide some beautiful reports. It's through the National Association of Realtors, and they have a strong commercial presence, and it's becoming very, they're integrating it with like everybody. They're happy to engage that technology and to connect it with various other platforms, which always makes me happy. And I prefer using technological and data platforms that are willing to work with other ones, simply because I think that that's the future of our industry, and people who are super protectionist of their information and unwilling to share, I think are eventually going to be obsolete. And that's obviously a broader and more, that's just my general approach. I love the RPR data because I think it's very helpful.
Okay.
So I would start there and then also researching amenities and things that are in the market. So not multifamily, but I have an office building in Geneva, Illinois that we are listing. And one of the funny, just clever e-blasts we put together was top 10 reasons you should come to Geneva, which I think is a pretty normal approach. But one thing I did was to create a map of all of the restaurants in close proximity. So very, very relevant to that office building. And that was primary research. That's literally looking online at every single restaurant in the area and then driving around and making sure they're all there. So there's primary message or primary research and secondary research are both utilized. Moving on to Andreas, how do you measure returns? So I assume we're talking about when we're viewing marketing as the expense pieces of marketing.
My question, my follow-up to your statement was, so what you're basically saying is that you research how to do your marketing, but not only that, you include market research in your marketing pieces to bring value to the person receiving it, so they're more likely to pick it up and take it with them. Is that right? And then to follow up on that was, how do you measure those returns? When you're sending things out, is there a way to track the money out the door and look for ways to improve?
So I would say the best way to do that and the best way to measure engagement is using A/B testing. When and where possible. You can utilize landing pages to identify, and this is all digital marketing right now that I'm talking about, by the way. So this isn't traditional.
It's not throwing darts against the wall. It's a targeted approach.
Correct. And so you start out more broadly with a couple of messages, a couple of different subject lines or different content pieces that you're providing, and then you're able to utilize statistics. And as far as I'm aware, every e-blast program I've worked with, social media, both of those areas provide those analytics very easily and very quickly. And you're able to see which message resonates with your audience.
So you continue to build your brand within each audience because you know what relates to them, what they're opening, and how they're reacting.
Correct.
Okay.
And I encourage everybody to incorporate those analytics and the review of those analytics into your marketing. It's a follow-up step, but it's really crucial. And I do think that sometimes we get, again, so focused on doing that we're not reflecting either. So in addition to not having a mindset before we market, we also aren't having that response to the marketing that we're doing to ensure that we're making the most effective and data-driven decisions. That's a beautiful thing about marketing now, is you can actually use data.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. I think if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to why. Is that okay? David,
Yep.
am I good?
Yes, absolutely. I think you're doing a great job, and thanks for all the questions, David and Andreas, and thanks for being so agile on your feet, Rebekah.
All right. Why? Why is yes to more? And my personal business mantra this year has been to be brave. In fact, participating in this webinar is part of that bravery. This is my first experience presenting a webinar, and I was completely unsure of the process until Julia and David guided me. Based on client needs, we at Carlson Integrated have grown a robust social media practice this year. On the real estate side, I've developed a property website, held an open house, and completed my own property photography for clients. While I am by no means holding myself up as an example of perfection, I do want to share how yes to more changes business. Part of that has been my mindset, and without it, I literally would not be here today. Over the past couple of years, my kids' school district has sent home information on what has been coined as a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Of course, the concept of mindset influencing behavior patterns is age-old. Did anyone else grow up hearing practice makes perfect?
Yep.
Well, even natural talent requires effort to cultivate excellence. The primary characteristic of a fixed mindset is a limit on talents, that what someone is good at is finite and inherent. A growth mindset, conversely, expects that talents can be cultivated through hard work, development strategies, and input from others. This doesn't mean that I have the capability at 5'1" tall to be a basketball star. It does mean that even though I went to school to study liberal arts, I was able to learn and come to love commercial real estate and business. And if I'd studied basketball or practiced it with diligence and interest, different career doors would have been open to me in that field, regardless of my height. When you apply a growth mindset to business, fixed perceptions of I can't become self-imposed limits. I'm here to say you can. You can learn new tools and develop new competencies. You can learn to appreciate new methodologies and experiment with what works for you. I've seen people and companies do it time and time again. And it doesn't just apply to new product types or areas of expertise, like adding industrial to your thriving retail practice. It also applies to oversight, management, and my favorite, marketing. You can grow in this area. A change in prioritization level for marketing your firm, yourself, or your capabilities is the first step. Then you decide if you are learning new things yourself, building your internal team's skills and letting them try new things, hiring an outsourced firm, or any combination of the above. And while we're saying yes, I wanted to bring up the conflict between past and present. In my board experience, I have heard frequent laments over the way business used to be accomplished. And while I am delighted to hear the stories and recollections of our industry greats from what seems to have been a simpler time, it is also my role to gently guide them in some of the current elements of technology and marketing and show them how current best practices build on their past experience. The best businesses today are hybrid. We desperately need the wisdom, experience, and successful sales tactics perfected over time. And we also need to utilize the technological tools that have emerged if we want maximum exposure. Relationships are still key to success. But if we don't take advantage of the opportunities to expand those relationships to a broader audience with more consistency through the use of technology, and if we don't recognize that analytics and metrics can help hone our message and effectiveness, it is detrimental to our own businesses. One of my closest advisors on technology, by the way, is 74 years old. And I believe he's with us today.
Yeah.
He is an active real estate broker, a continuing education instructor, and is uniquely positioned to leverage 50 years of experience into relevancy for today. He is our only client who has wanted to log onto his business eBlast account and review the analytics himself. He's willing to learn about technology and willing to learn technology. I want to be more like that, and I bet you do too. Orient your mindset toward the future. Use those awesome skills you gleaned in the past and let technology amplify them to catapult you into future success. It has been interesting to me to watch how career progression impacts networking. There are those in sales who continue networking throughout their career, but the majority of people who I see actively circulating at events are junior and mid-level professionals. Why is that? There seems to be either fatigue, and from experience, I know this can be the case, or else a position someone attains that makes them less interested in developing new relationships, and they prefer to focus on intimate golf outings within their network. Even if you are only picking the 3 to 4 events a year in your market that are crucial, don't give up on cultivating in-person relationships through networking. Whether you are seeing tried and true friends from across the years or meeting new people, it benefits your business to be visible in your industry. If you are not active in an industry organizations, I encourage you to get involved. For me, this has been NICAR, the Northern Illinois Commercial Association of Realtors. In addition to being a great unpaid, totally volunteer nonprofit job, and yes, I mean a job, I work crazy hours for this organization, it's become a way to keep my pulse on the market, to learn best practices, and to develop camaraderie with fellow real estate professionals. It is unbelievably rewarding. Several years ago, I attended a couple of luncheons and got a call from a member inviting me to join the board. Where would I be if I had said no? Honestly, I wouldn't even know Mr. Norkett, my 74-year-old tech genius, and hundreds of other people I've been able to develop relationships with and build business with over the years. Now, I am not suggesting to overbook yourself or to say yes to everything. I'm just suggesting that we can all prioritize our professional lives to say yes to something. Does anybody have any questions on this yes to more concept?
I think it's like the rule of, I think when people do improv, isn't there the rule of yes, or yes and, I think. So.
All right. Then we're going to jump down to S, WHYS. Here we go. Showing up is 80%. This is a little bit of a play on words. When you say it one way, it means to be present in the market in an intentional fashion by showing up on feeds and social media, showing up in inboxes, showing up at events, those sorts of things. The other application of the phrase is to make sure you are actually showing up when people are looking for you by using SEO or search engine optimization. Don't make them go to the third page of Google. Your listings are probably on a couple of platforms, and I'm assuming one of those platforms is Quantum Listing. Your website hopefully has some back-end framework that enables it to be cataloged and integrated into Google searches. I hope you have claimed your business listing on Google. One of the clear benefits of being on multiple platforms is that you are more likely to dominate the first page of Google when someone searches for you. This applies to listing platforms, websites, and social media platforms. One of the unexpected positive results that occurred when Carlson Integrated added a couple of shopping centers to Alignable for a client was that those profiles actually rank higher on Google in the search than even CoStar does. We just wanted the centers to be on a platform where small local businesses interact in their neighborhood market, which is exactly like what Alignable does. Google did the rest. How has online consumer behavior changed what showing up means? Well, while you cannot conduct a walkthrough online, many other parts of a real estate transaction can actually originate on the internet. I have a client who just hired a company to do a drone video for her residential listing. It was done by a firm in Canada. For only $500, they are able to fly the drone, shoot the video, and provide 3 video versions of different lengths and sizing, landscape and square, with her logo and branding included. The company isn't even in our country, and they could get it done. Who would hire an environmental firm or recommend them to a client without first checking their website to make sure they look professional and can complete the proposed scope of the project? We learn about them before we even ask. Now, according to McKinsey, in an article that I have a link for later in this presentation, in case you are interested in reading more, in 2015, already 50% of B2B purchases originated online. Those are business-to-business purchases, companies buying from companies. We all know technology has changed consumer shopping behavior, but it was widely dismissed for years in commercial real estate. 10 years ago, I personally thought that a heavy online presence was agnostic at best, irrelevant at worst in our industry. Now I know better. I know that research debunks that premise, and the wide-scale investment in commercial real estate related technology over the past couple of years corroborates the research. Consumers are people. People run companies. The changes in consumer buying trends directly impact our business processes and activities. This time, it is our perception that needs to change. We simply are not isolated from the disruption, no matter how much we may wish we were. But because commercial real estate is a relatively slow adopter, we have the great benefit of being able to learn from consumer-facing business models to positively impact our own businesses and markets. Presumably, you're here today because you already have an interest in technology adoption or marketing. Keep learning about other tactics. See what other companies are doing that you want to do, and then just go Nike on it. Just do it. If you engage in online advertising or have been around some of the new generation of marketing language, you probably know that e-blasts and advertising analytics include 2 primary elements: impressions and clicks. Remember the rule of 7 we talked about briefly in the H section? One benefit of your marketing spend on expenses, not the investments, those are long-term assets, But a benefit of your marketing spend on expenses is that in most cases, you have an idea of the reach of what you are doing. The term impressions denotes incidents where your message is on someone else's screen with no other actions associated. The numbers are often outrageously large in comparison with the number of clicks, which is a situation I have had to explain to some of my clients. One of my favorite ways to explain it is this. Imagine you put a print ad in the Wall Street Journal 20 years ago. The circulation number is what sold you on the ad. That ad had the opportunity to create that specific number of impressions on the market. Clicks, then, become a modern form of basic inquiry calls off the ad. Or else some of your friends just open all of your e-blasts. That could be some of your clicks too. So my suggestion is that you embrace and celebrate impressions as part of your rule of 7, and then you follow up with the clicks. Be proactive and don't wait for people to follow up with you. They forget. Stay in front of them. The key is to have relevant content, so what passes by their faces on their screen actually sticks in their memory. One of my clients completely changed my perspective on e-blasts. He sends 4 per week, 1 for his mortgage business and 3 for his radio show down in Miami. When I balked at adding a 5th one week for a charity event, he kindly reminded me that his audience doesn't mind hearing from him. They haven't unsubscribed. So we send an email to them every Monday at the same time with 4 varying messages and attractive graphics, and he's confident that they will call him when they need his services. And now when I talk to clients about their frequency and content, I have a deeper perspective. Everyone has the opportunity to unfollow you, unsubscribe, or not return your emails or calls. No one resents hearing from you regularly. If you are a service provider, they are just waiting for it to be the right time that they need you. So as long as they aren't unsubscribing, which is my client's theory, send them things that you think that are interesting to them. So I think you're starting to see that showing up is not merely existing, it's intentional. It's the combination of hard work and visibility that enable your efforts to be maximized and your investment to achieve compounding returns. So take advantage of the resources that are available to you. Show up in searches, show up in your effort, show up in your market. Keep using tools like quantum listing. Engage help if and where you need it on the marketing side, and never give up on your ability to learn and grow. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. You mentioned a little while ago something called Alignable. Tell us about Alignable.
Oh, Alignable is for small businesses. It's a small business networking site. And I was invited to it by some sole practitioner or I think a photographer in my market. And it's not something that I normally would have done for a commercial real estate listing, but we had a client that had 2 branded centers that have a name associated with them. So they're not just an address, there's a name to the center, there's a pylon with the name in front of it. And his target is small businesses. And those alignable networks are very geographically isolated. So they really kind of keep that network within the town or within the community. So like my alignable reach is I think 1 or 2 towns over for my own profile and my own business listing there. And it was just shocking to me. Periodically I Google our work because I want to make sure see where Google our clients and Google their product to make sure that things are showing up and that sort of thing. And I was absolutely floored that the top listing was these alignable things. And so what we do is we put content every other week for both shopping centers. We do, salon space available or restaurant space available. So it's keeping that in front of that closed local network of small businesses, so that the people in that network understand, can see what is available. So we post not super frequently, just every other week, reminding people that there's vacancy in that center. But uniquely enough, Google really likes Alignable, I think, because it's a small business network.
Yeah.
So in my local area, it's everything from my school district and the park district to gyms, to printers, to painters, all little small businesses.
That's a great source to know about. I never heard of it before, so thank you. So I have a question for you also. How do you know when you can't, as a business owner, me or anybody listening, or a business owner, or if you're a real estate broker, uh, when do you need to make the plunge and start working with a marketing professional versus trying to be a do-it-yourselfer?
I think when your marketing planning is killing your Saturday mornings and you want your life back, that's a very solid indication that it's time to get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a situational question or situational response, but there's some merit to that. That is exactly when I recently had a client decide that they wanted help. Was they just wanted their Saturdays back.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I mean, everybody talks about work-life balance, and being good at it is doable, but you have to work at work-life balance. I think that's a great answer. I love that.
So, and I see we have a question from Andreas. What's the best first step in getting marketing to where it needs to be? So do you want me to open it up to other questions, David, or I can touch a little bit on
Take
it?
Andreas's question, please, and then if anybody else, we still have another 4 or 5 minutes before our time is up. So
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so Andreas, I actually thought, well, what if the webinar was too short? Where would we jump into? So I actually put together just very quickly the hows of marketing. And
I sense a sequel to it, by the way.
I don't know about that. This is actually, I wanted people to have access to what were next steps. And so first and foremost, I believe that all marketing starts with a calendar and a plan. You need both. So having a calendar ensures that you have your scheduling taken care of, even when you have a client from out of state in for a few days, or you have other business things to focus on. The plan involves determining your voice and flow. So what you say and how often you say it. So the next step to me is to get your resources lined up. So if you have an administrative staff person who's interested in various forms of marketing, have them help come up with the plan and develop content and imagery. Do you realize that you need an SEO audit? I'm happy to refer some professional SEO companies that do an outstanding job. Has your e-blast list, is it full of returned email addresses because your network has moved around? And then you need to aggregate and edit contacts. whatever pain point that you're seeing in your marketing or in your program, make sure you have the resources. That's the people and the funding to take care of it. Get it done. I find for a lot of our clients that there's upfront, there's a ton of work. But the goal is to build a program and a process so that it keeps going without the business owner having to think about it all the time. And so that's a good outsource example is when we're able to put in, the 30 or 40 hours up front to get everything set. And then we're just approaching our client once a month with, this is what we want to do. These are the dates that we want to do it. This is what the content's going to say. This is what it's going to look like. And we try to do that a month in advance. And if you're doing it in-house, that's the same process you can develop in-house. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to not be selecting your social media post on the day that you have to post it. Having it planned out and having a rhythm to it, again, that voice and flow are really important. And Andreas, I'd be happy to just you and I talk about that offline anytime that you'd like. Because I love what you do.
So if people want to get in touch with you, Rebekah, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Oh, here. So, we're all over the place. So I am delighted to get calls or texts on my cell phone. My email address is here. You can check out various websites and of course connect on social media. Here I've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We also have a new Carlson Integrated Twitter account, which I believe it's Carlson_int, INT. But I'll have to double check that because we literally just got it set up.
Awesome. Somebody new to follow.
And I like people. Just if anyone wants to call me and talk to me, I like talking to people. So, and learning about their businesses, that's been a beautiful part of having this business.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? It is actually 4 o'clock. So, Becca, I don't know about you, but the time sure flew for me. I want to thank you so much for all the hard work and preparation you put into this webinar today. And if this is any indication of what you do for your clients, it's no surprise you are as successful as you are. So, bravo. And
oh gosh, thank you. You guys have been so lovely. Thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times for including me.
yes, and yeah, I also want to thank Julia for all of her help in coordinating today, and Andres from our team, and Andreas Seni, who made the introduction to you originally, and he's said to me time and again, you're one of his favorite people, and I sure understand why. It's been wonderful working with you. I can't believe that I've been going to ICSC for 30 years, and that you and I have never met at ICSC. That blows my mind.
Well, I've always worked it.
Yeah.
I don't get to be on the, I'm not doing meetings. I've always been working events.
Yeah. And I'm stuck in my booth. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
This year, this is going to be the year.
Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time, and thanks to everybody who spent part of their afternoon with us. If you missed any of it, we will be sending out the recording, and please feel free to get in touch with Becca if you have any follow-up questions. Her information's right there on the screen. And if you want to learn more about quantum listing, you can reach me at david@quantumlisting.com. We have some great webinars coming up, as you can see. Next week it is how to leverage 1031 exchanges Delaware Statutory Trust, DSTs, to those in the know, and qualified opportunity funds. I think that's supposed to be qualified opportunity zones. And then on September 4th, right after Labor Day, we're going to do an overview of quantum listing and talk about some of our new features. So we hope that you'll join us in some of those future webinars. All right, thanks again, everybody.